What's going on, Raider Nation? Coach here to talk about the NFL Draft. Let's get it done, shall we? So, with the first round pick, the Oakland Raiders selected Colton Miller. They traded down. Arguably, they passed on plenty of talented players in my book that were better than Colton Miller in terms of just talent level. Raiders had all these needs, and you could argue multiple positions. Offensive tackle was one of them, though. Long term, Donald Penn, I think, just got in trouble, but he's up there in age. So I've been advocating wanting an offensive lineman for a while. But I thought for the first round, you got to take the best guy available for the now. And unfortunately, John Gruden says, all right, we need an offensive line. We're going to take this guy who's big. I mean, this Colton Miller reminds me of an Al Davis pick. Very athletic, very big. But it's all potential. It's just potential because of size and combine numbers. So John Gruden is putting faith in his coaches staff and himself in coaching this. That's what he's doing. Because you can't coach height and speed and strength and all that. You can't coach that on a player. Okay, a lot of these guys are at their peak once they leave college. They're in physical fit condition already. So, but Miller has all the makings to be a franchise left tackle, but he's got to develop. He's not a now pick. But they also got Martavis Bryant when they traded down, so I think that's a good group for a wide receiver core, which has Jordy Nelson, and then of course you got Seth Roberts and Amari Cooper. So wide receiving core looks like it's going to be set, or with Martavis Bryant for this year. With the second round pick, they took P.J. Hill, defensive tackle. Now this guy also has Al Davis combine numbers for his size. I mean, he's not very big for an interior lineman. He's actually small in my book, but because he's athletic for his size, he's quick. That's probably the shiny object that Reggie McKenzie saw, and I think Al Davis would have said the same thing. Once again, this is all just potential. To me, he's very undersized. I'm not sure if he's a good disruptor, but time will tell. He feels a need. Every defensive position on the Raiders is a need that really has been out there. So, not a bad value pick. I think it makes sense, but I'm just kind of meh. I thought maybe they're better talent potentially. With one of their third-round picks, they took Brandon Parker. I think Parker, really, they traded up for him. They gave up multiple picks. The Raiders had a lot of picks on the back end, by the way. They had a bunch of six-rounders coming in. We knew that was coming, so Parker was drafted, and really, I'm okay, just kind of mad about this pick. It fills a need. Once again, offensive line depth is very important, but people might say there was better talent available. I think there was, and Gruden really doubled down on this pick. He made a lot of comments saying, yeah, we got to prove it. I understand that. But he's all confident in his coaching staff to develop both Miller and Parker on the offensive line. Now, once again, this is a protection plan for Derek Carr, something that the line had its issues with last year. The line was having, that is true. The offensive line was really just meh last year, and that's what really led to the offensive production falling. So I get the need, but once again, when you draft for need so much, and you have other talent available, it just kind of looks bad in hindsight to backfire. Sam Bowie, anyone? If you're an NBA fan, there were better guys taken after. That's why his name was Michael Jordan. I think about better talent available rather than drafting for just a need. So, the other third-round pick was Arden Key. Now, this was probably the biggest steal, some would argue, because he is the most talented guy, first-round talent, but because of trouble, character issues, he fell to the third round. This is exactly worth a character guy. In the third round, you can take a risk. You can go for a guy that may have question marks. A lot of teams clearly were worried about his off-the-field issues, but the good thing is the Raiders are not this team that has to hit on everything. They can take a risk. They're right in mediocrity right now. So if you're a bottom-feeding team with nothing, then yeah, you don't take this kind of pick, but the Raiders can afford to do that because the talent is there. Obviously, you go for talent if possible. As long as he doesn't have a heavy track record, which I know he has something, but on the field, I think Key, that's a guy you have a lot of expectations for, so you got to like this pick a lot. I think most people will say so. With the fourth round pick, the Raiders took Nick Nelson. I think this pick makes a lot of sense. You need a defensive back. Of course, there's a big vote of confidence in the last draft with Conley and others. They took defensive backs in that class. I think by passing on those other defensive players in the first round, that's a vote of confidence in their previous class. Nelson really fits the competition. He's going to be joining a whole gauntlet of guys fighting for a defensive back job. So I'm okay with this pick. It makes sense. It fills a need. And also, he could play on special teams. So, if worse, he could be a return guy. He should be competing with the guy that they just got from the Dallas Cowboys in a trade. So, yeah, this makes total sense. You got possibly a returner, and you got a possible defensive back. So, it's a project. Makes perfect sense. No complaints. In the 5th round, the Raiders took 2 guys. One of them was Hurst, a lineman. This was a pretty big one. I know a lot of people said this is first-round talent, but everyone was worried about his health and his heart. The Raiders actually traded up for him because that's first-round talent in everyone's book. So actually, that's probably a good call in the 5th round. You don't know who's going to take the flyer. If there's a guy you really like that's available, you kind of go for it if you have the ammunition, which, as we know, the Raiders did. So they went for Hurst. Obviously, I'm pretty excited for this one if it pans out, but if not, it's only a 5th rounder. This is exactly what you do. You take a risk on guys, especially in the late rounds. You can take risks, and no one's going to complain if it doesn't pan out because it's a low risk. Unlike DJ Hayden, where they took him in the 1st round, guy with medical issues, this pick in the 5th round makes perfect sense for a first-round talent. So I like it. And the other 5th round pick is the punter Townsend, a very accomplished guy in college. That doesn't mean anything. But I don't want people fretting that it's a 5th round pick because it was the very end of the 5th round, okay? I mean, if you pass on, say he gets taken in the 6th round, you lose him. Okay, so I don't have issues with taking the punter there. We could all talk about the Marquette King controversy. He's in Denver. Gruden's going to want his players. That's how a new head coach is. Usually new regimes will want their own guys rather than what they inherited. So yeah, it sucks to see him go to Denver, but we knew that the punter was going to be taken. So, they filled a need also right there. All right, in the 6th round, the Raiders took Azeem Victor. This is a pick, really, that's just kind of meh. Linebacker, guy that will try to be fighting for a special teams role. The Raiders did not address linebacker. I was hoping they were going to do that a little earlier, but they didn't. The linebacker group, to me, is not very good looking, but who knows? Victor Essett, he's going to be fighting for special teams in my book. That's usually what these kind of picks do. Fighting for a roster spot. Who knows? Lastly, we had guys like Ben Heaney in the past that were special teamers and not really good starters. So who knows? We'll see what happens. And then there's Atwell, who was the last pick. Atman, the wide receiver. Pretty intriguing size. He had a terrible combine or pro day. Doesn't have those numbers, but he has the size. He'll be competing for wide receiver. Once again, you compete for special teams when you're a 7th round pick. Usually you're not very irrelevant. You have to fight for your job. So he's going to be doing that, and who knows if he makes the team or not. I already talked about how there's a lot of wide receivers already on the team, but it makes sense, and once again, he feels a need. So what are my thoughts overall on this class? Overall, I'm just kind of on the fence. Sorry. I'm not excited over this class as much as some of you maybe. I mean, Hurst sounds really cool. I like that key guy, but once again, you don't know what you got until 3 to 4 years from now. Usually year 3 is the year, that's judgment year on picks. So, we got to wait until the 2020 season concludes before we know what these guys are. Or if they're cut or traded, we'll find out what they are a little earlier. I mean, that's how drafts work, guys. So, once again, nobody knows what we got in reality. Okay, time will tell on all these picks. But to me, they're all just built for when they're playing in Vegas. That's the big problem I have. And I selfishly, as most of you know, want a title in Oakland. There's only 2 years to do it. Or was it 1 year? I don't even know. I mean, once this team is the Vegas Raiders, I won't be making videos anymore. I mean, I'll still be a fan. I'll be on Twitter rooting for them just as much as you are, but I'm not going to care to make videos about them. My apathy is just partially there with all the things Mark Davis has done and given a middle finger to the city of Oakland. So, yeah, there's some intrigue, but once again, these guys are all built for the long run. I don't feel there's a guy who's going to come in on 2018 and make instant impact. I need to see more. I want instant impact, and I'm disappointed in that. I'm not feeling it, but there's potential. That's it. They're all guys with potential some of them had good pro day or combine numbers. Other guys are just built on, they got to be coached up. They're just a bunch of raw athletes. Some like Colton Miller specifically is a raw athlete. So, yeah, this class, I felt like Al Davis was running it in a way because they're athletes. But, yeah, let me know what y'all thought. Once again, I'm going into hibernation as usual. I mean, free agency and all that, training camp, I don't pay attention that closely, okay? I just know guys like Vadal Alexander got suspended. But, once again, football is not my first sport, if you haven't figured that out already, okay? Sorry, the NFL, I just haven't cared from top to bottom about the NFL as much as I should. I didn't even watch a full game that was non-Raiders outside of the Super Bowl. Okay, it's not a boycott, but it's a soft boycott. I just have not cared because of some of the things the NFL's done, from PR to some of the things they've endorsed to some of the things they don't endorse. It's a whole public relations mess. Roger Goodell and so much, all this controversy, I'm sick of it. The product is not very good. And I just haven't cared. Okay, even if this team was dominating, I still wouldn't be caring as much as I should be. I have better passions elsewhere. So, yeah, it is what it is. Go Raiders. Let me know what y'all thought. And, of course, I'll see you guys when probably preseason rolls around and I'll make my video. So, I'm signing off for a long time when it comes to the Raiders. You can always bug me on Twitter as usual, @CoasterFreak. So, see you guys later. Oh, yeah, by the way, how about that win by the Sharks last night? Big blowout against the Vegas Golden Knights, the other Vegas team that I do not like. I'll be liking one team in Vegas in the future, but the other one, kick rocks. Happy they evened the series up at 2-2. I hope they go on a run. I hope Sharks can play the way they did in Game 4. We'll see you guys later.